Good evening, everybody. Good evening, City fans. Hope you're all doing very well. I'm with the main man. I'm very privileged to be alongside the main man. And we got it right, Bernard. We got it right.
Did we? That'll be a first.
I think we kind of put it all together. Matheus Nunes looks like he's going to be a Manchester City player. I'm not sure if it's...
Not for 60 million, though.
Not for 60 million. It's going to be very interesting to look at all this. There's some... Look, I said before, we're not in the nose. We're just guys who guess what we think might be happening. We get a good feeling. It's all about that feeling and trying to read between the lines as to what's happening. Now, look, the deal seems to be that Matheus Nunes, even though City put a bid in last week of £47 million, and Wolves said no, and I said they would say no, it's not enough. We want more. And I said it'll be 60 million quid, 6 million euros. And I thought City would come back at 60 million euros. They come back at 55 million euros. And even though Gary O'Neill, the Wolves manager, last night said, we're not going to let him go unless our valuation is met, I did say yesterday or the day before, I think I was chatting to you, Bernard, that Wolves have got... A lot's happened today, and I'm going to try and piece it all together. Let's try and piece it all together for you. So Gary O'Neill last night said, unless have I said, how are you, Bernard? Sorry. I'll start off by saying, how are you?
Yes,
how you doing?
Yes. Hello, Chris, as well. Chris is on early.
I'll say hello to Bernard if I haven't said hello properly. I hope you're well, buddy. Looking forward to your holidays. Hopefully looking forward to 3 more points going away on your holidays next week. City,
I'll be depressed. It'll totally ruin my holiday if we don't win on Saturday.
Hopefully City will be astride at the top of the table with 12 points. Anyway, Matheus Nunes. Okay, last night, Gary O'Neill said, not happening. Unless our valuation is met, I expect him to stay. The guy's on strike. We heard that on Monday that Matheus Nunes went on strike to try and force this move through. We both said we didn't agree with that. Okay, now, I actually put out a tweet this morning and I said that the longer this goes on, the more likely it's not going to happen because City usually make things happen. If it's going to happen, it happens very quickly. Kovacic, bang, done. Yeah. Okay, Gvardiol took a little while, but I was always confident it would happen. But the longer this went on, the more I was thinking, a Wolves going to try and a bit of brinkmanship. Are they going to try and drag it out because, they want as much money as possible, or they want to keep the player? And Wolves have got problems with financial fair play. It's been said they have to sell to buy, they're strapped for cash and all that. So all this is the background, and I'm just thinking, it's dragging on. It's Wednesday now. Okay, the window closes on Friday, but it's dragging on. If Wolves want to buy anybody, they're not going to leave themselves much time. Bang. Okay, bang. We heard that Wolves are going to buy this fella called Santiago Bueno for 10 million euros. But the interesting thing was, he comes from Girona. Okay, La Liga. They play in La Liga. Girona. But Girona are a CFG group team. CFG, City Football Group. It's part of the City empire, basically. About a dozen teams all over the world. And CFG own Manchester City, Girona, New York City. They own Montevideo City Talk. They own Mumbai City. Melbourne City. Melbourne City. They got a stake in Yokohama Mariners. They got a stake in all of Lommel SK. They've got Troy in France. They've got Shenzhen Shunyuan in can't say that in China. They got a club in Japan, Yokohama Marinos. I might have missed somebody out because there is just so many. I think we've got another one in South America as well. So we've got a lot of teams. Now, I said, I'm surprised that deal has gone through and we've heard nothing about Matheus Nunes, because where have Wolves got the 10 million euros from? Hello? We know where they're going to get that 10 million euros from. And it's coming from Girona, a City club, a City Football Group club. Why would we make it easy for Wolves to do that deal if, Matheus Nunes wasn't coming to City? It just, as soon as I put that tweet out and I saw this thing about Matheus, about Bueno coming to Wolves, I thought it just dominoes. That's why I say you don't need to be in the know to put 2 and 2 together and come up with 4. And that's how it seemed. And also the other news that kind of made me feel this was going to happen, the 2 pieces of news. One was the Bueno deal. The second piece of news that made me think this was going to happen was the fact that City have given the green light for Cole Palmer to leave. Chelsea come sniffing, as Chelsea do, and City given the green light for Cole Palmer to leave. Now, if Nunes wasn't coming, I think Cole Palmer stays because we need the bodies. We need the bodies because we just haven't got the bodies. That's the truth. When we at the weekend, we had Phil Foden on the bench, and he was at 23, our only senior midfielder on the bench. We have nobody else to go to apart from Cole Palmer, Oscar Bob, James McAtee. We're the best one in the world. They're not the senior players you expect Pep to be calling on. So we have,
Yes, we won't disrespect Gomez.
Who? Sergio Gomez. Sergio Gomez plays in defence, mate. I'm looking at midfielder, sorry.
Oh, sorry, mate. Yes.
I'm
Well, no, but Gomez has played midfield as well, hasn't he, for Spain?
Yeah, for the Spain under 21s or under 20s, whatever. In the
everyone thinks that's probably his best position.
Well, as far away from defence as possible is his best position. But the thing is, so look, as I said, I'll repeat it because I feel excited that we followed this for the last few weeks and we've got it pretty much bang, bang, bang. The only thing that I'm surprised about, and I think this might come out in the wash, okay, and I don't think anybody else is going to talk about it, is the price. Now, it was said that we bid 47 million, which is 55 million euros, and Wolves wanted 60 million quid, okay? The deal that's going through apparently is 47.3 million pounds, which is basically 55 million euros. There's no change on that. Now, have Wolves capitulated? Have Wolves said, look, we need to get the money in, we need to do deals, we need to get people in, let's just cut our losses and we're not going to get the 60 million out of City. Okay? We're not going to get the 60 million out of City. Let's turn that off. Oh, come on. Pep's always ringing me. Come on, Pep. Speak to Lilo Lil. So Wolves might have said, we're not going to get the 60 million that we wanted. And it's getting late in the day. Let's get these deals done. But they've talked to, City about the other part of this interesting thing is Tommy Doyle. So they've talked to Tommy Doyle as well about Tommy Doyle going to Wolves. And have you been up to date? Because I've been working. I've been driving back from Birmingham the last 2.5 hours. Originally, I saw that Tommy Doyle was going to Wolves for £5 million. Plus, we have a 50%.
Yeah, nothing confirmed, but yeah, you still wanted to say a couple of hours ago, yeah.
Yeah, but I've also read that it might be on loan. Now,
I've read that as well.
So
yeah.
There's 2 conflicting things there. Is on loan or is on sale? I think he's going to be sold. We're not going to loan him out. It's pointless. I like the idea. 5 million is dirt cheap. So maybe Wolves have looked at all this and said, let's agree that, get Tommy Doyle on the cheap, get this fella in from Girona. Okay. The one thing that puzzles me is the valuations of this deal. For Wolves, for FFP purposes, they want to sell this fella, this Matheus Nunes, for as much money as possible. Because, without going into too much detail, let's say their account, on the balance sheet, is valued at 35 million. Okay, I'm not going to go through all the numbers, but just take my word for it. He's valued at 35. If he's sold for 47, they make a 12 million profit in their accounts. That hits their accounts this year. Okay, now the higher the profit they can make, the more that hits their accounts in a profit terms this year, helps them for financial fair play. Buying Tommy Doyle for £5 million, put him over 5 years, that's £1 million amortization every year. It's not that much, and his salary, forget all that. So I would have thought Wolves would have tried to get the sales price as high as possible, because if they can get that to, if it goes through the books at £60 million, which is, I think this is what might end up happening. It goes through the books at 60 million quid. They make a £25 million profit for financial fair play purposes. If Tommy Doyle goes through the books at, let's say, they're actually paying 5 million, but let's say they put that through the books at 12 million, okay? Only 2, and put it over 6 years, only £2 million hits the accounts. So they make a huge positive. It's a huge positive position in this year's accounts.
Well, why would they be worried about FFP? They're not going to get in Europe.
No, but they've got the Premier League FFP as well. To worry about.
It's a bit less restrictive, isn't it?
Yeah, but I, to be honest, I don't know their situation. All I know is that I've read that Wolves are in a difficult position. Now, from City's point of view, from financial fair play purposes as well, they want to pay. They want to sell Tommy Doyle for as much as possible. If City can sell Tommy Doyle for 15 million quid and elevate the price of Nunes, because Nunes is, let's say, it's coming over 5 years. So just quickly doing the numbers. If we paid 50 million for Nunes over 5 years, he's amortized at 10 million a year. If we pay 60 million over 5 years, he's amortized at 12 million. It's only 2 million different. If we can sell Tommy Doyle for 15 million quid, we make a 50 million pound profit on sale. Now, I don't think we have a problem with FFP, so we're not that fussed. But I thought, if you go back and look, and I'm not going to go through the numbers, the Danilo deal, where we sold Danilo to Juventus and what's his name, Cancelo came the other way. Danilo was overvalued. Cancelo was overvalued because that suited both parties. And Juventus, I think they had an investigation against them for overinflating transfer prices. And this is why you do it, because the benefit you get is immediate. If you increase the sales price, it's an immediate benefit. If you increase the purchase price of a player that you're buying, that's staggered. So you get a huge benefit now, and the consequences are staggered over 5 or 6 years. And maybe in the case of Cancelo, if you sell him, you can forget about most of the consequences. So that's what puzzled me about the deal. So now I'm going to bring in, I'm sorry for blabbering away. I'm just going to give a quick shout out to the guys who are on. Mr. Roll-Up says, Girona sold a player. That was Santiago Bueno. Hiya, I can't read all that. Why not Spursy Mikel? I can't read all that, buddy. Hi, Ray. Hi, Bernard. Big up, gents. These are private messages, man. I was sending just private messages to me. Bernard, what is your current perception of the skill level and attributes and scope to grow Mr. Nunes? Well, we'll come on to that. Let's look at these two things, Bernard. One, Nunes is coming. Two, Tommy Doyle is going. What do you think about, forget the numbers, what do you think about the players coming and going?
Yeah, well, Doyle has to go. Doyle's not going to get a cat and hell's chance of getting a game at City anytime soon. And if it meant sweetening the effect of the Nunes deal, Pep likes him, Pep loves him. I said I wasn't overly impressed based on watching videos. I've seen a few Wolves fans comments about how wonderful he is, but they're probably they're going to say that because they wanted 60 million for him. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. I just want Doyle to be sorted for his benefit. I don't really care about anything about City with Doyle. If Doyle can move and I'll keep a very close eye on how he does, of course. I think we all will, because we've got a lot of love for Doyle, even though he's not done much from a first team point of view. It's just who he is. The history of it all is very important to us. And as you say, with the addition of this Girona thing as well, I think overall we've got another body in there. All right, I'm not overly enthused about him. Defensively, I've seen very little. When as a defensive midfielder, as a number 6, I expect to see a little bit more defensively from him. I've not really seen that on the bits I've seen. And as I said, I've only seen what's on YouTube and various things. And I do expect a good number 6 to be defensive minded as well. And all I've seen is cross balls and forward balls. I've not seen anything. So I think unless you've watched him regular as a Wolves fan, I think the Wolves fans haven't really commented too much about his defensive attributes. It's more about I don't think he's box to box. Looking at him again, things I've seen, he's just another body for me. I'm not, of course, if Pep fancies him, he sees something in him, and the Wolves fans think he's great. But it is another option there in midfield, which is, as you said there, Pep wanted. We'd have a team of midfielders, wouldn't he? And he's allowed himself. Perhaps we've got old the winger now, haven't we? With old Doku coming in, but he's still wanted with KDB's absence, and there's no guarantee how quickly he'll get back up to speed when he comes back in, is he? Let's be honest about it with KDB. I mean, we're talking January. You never know. It could be March before we see the best of him again. So, if Pep wanted Nunes and everyone's happy with him, I'll go with that. But I like to see him. I like to see him in live, see what goes on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's when we'll know. I mean, I'm reading what Fabrizio, the man Romano, doesn't get everything right and does a bit of copying here and there, but he does kind of know most of his stuff. And he's the one who said Tommy Doyle. He understands Tommy Doyle will John Wolves on a £5 million deal plus 50% sell-on clause, which I think is a great deal for Wolves. Hopefully, it's good for Tommy Doyle.
No buyback.
Well, I guess there will be.
Or do you think it'll just be a sell-on?
Hopefully, we'll find out in due course. I would have put a buyback in, unless Wolves say we're not going to allow that. But or the buyback will be 30 million quid. I would have put a buyback in just.
You sort of think, why didn't Sheffield United come in with 5 million as well? Wouldn't you? You'd think, why didn't they have a go?
I think Sheffield United we'd have asked Sheffield United for more than 5 million.
that's what all it means, doesn't it? Looking at all, reading between the lines, and as you say, adding 2 and 2 together and making 4. That's entirely correct. Sheffield United wouldn't have paid 5 million for Mr. Doyle.
No, they wanted him on loan. They wanted a cheap deal, where a loan deal would have cost them, like last year, just over £1 million. I suspect 1 to 1.5 million. Whereas having to pay 5 million and Doyle's wages, which Doyle will be asking for 40 grand a week. He's not going for 20 grand a week, which he might be on 20 to 30 at City. He'll be asking for 40, 50 grand a week because he's a first team, a Premier League player. But it's interesting that this has moved very quickly. It's interesting that Wolves have, I wouldn't say capitulated, but they're not paying any more than we asked in the first instance.
Yeah, the thing with Wolves, they have to move on a disgruntled player, and I think that at the end of the day, if they get an out for him, no one else was in for him. If they get nothing, that's it. They've got nothing. So let's get something and get as much as we can.
No one else would have paid what City are paying. No one else would have gone. Well, having said that, Having said that, they paid apparently £42 million for him.
I'm surprised Chelsea didn't come in for him.
Chelsea going for everybody. But here's a funny thing: they paid £42 million for him. There's apparently a 10% sell-on clause. So if they made a £5 million profit on the sale of him, Sporting going to get 500,000 of that. Wolves are going to get not a lot of profit in cash terms. But I think it's the FFP thing that helps, because his book value is going to be about 35 million.
I think Wolves fans will be a bit disgruntled. Ones I've seen anyway, commenting yesterday about it, what they wanted. Some will be saying obviously they're glad to get rid of the guy who doesn't want to play for them, which is fair enough, absolutely spot on. That's how you've got to look at it. But I think most of them, weren't happy at anything less than £60 million. That's what they wanted.
I'll be interested to see what the numbers are that come out, because I still say in my head the numbers should be higher, because it certainly helps Wolves with FFP. It makes no big difference to them in terms of cash terms, because it's the same. If you buy something for 50, if you sell something for 50, buy something for 5, the difference is 45. If you buy it for 60, sell it for 50, or sell for 60, buy for 15, still 45. But if you fiddle around with the numbers, then you can do something for FFP now, the here and now, and that's what matters to Wolves. It's interesting what Cosatron says, a cheeky bit for Guimaraes. He ain't going. Absolutely no way Bruno Guimaraes is leaving Newcastle. Absolutely not. He would not have gone on strike. No, it wouldn't happen. Who we got? Czech Polska. Now I've got to work out, are you Czech or are you Polska? You've got to tell me, man. We need to know. Okay? We need to know. Are you a bit of both? Now, I can say, ahoy. Let me check for you. Ahoy. Okay. And my Polish, I can say witam. That's not a great one, but witam. Witam. Ahoj and witam. So hopefully one of them works for you, buddy. And Nunes seems like a Jorginho type. Tidy, keeps the ball well. In my opinion, definitely squad depth. Doesn't seem at this point like the first team. I don't think it's first team. He's certainly not going to walk into the first team. Not like Doku. Doku is your man. Doku's my man. But I think he's going to add to the squad depth. He's young. He's still young enough to develop over the next couple of years. You got to remember, KDB.
How old is he?
He's 20. He's just turned 25, I think. I think he just turned 25 this week or 26 this week, something like that. I will have a quick look for you guys. He turned 25 3 days ago. So he's young. Okay. Thing is, you still got to remember, Bernardo Silva's going to leave next summer. He's got a £50 million release clause in his new contract, which is what I suggested. He would have a release clause. It's now come out. I suggested it would be between 50 and 60 million quid. It's 50 million quid. Bernardo Silva likely to leave next summer, my opinion. KDB's 32. He's crock at the moment. Let's say he comes back 100%. How many more years has KDB got at the top level? 2, 3 maximum. So Bernardo going next summer. We need another midfielder. Nunes comes in, fits that bill. That's what I expect Bernardo to leave next summer. And as I said to Bernard, we had a discussion a few days ago. I said, every year we lose one top player. Every year. Okay? We lost, if you go back into the sands of time, the year before, we lost Joe Hart. Then Zabaleta. I'm going to get all this right now. Did we lose Vincent Kompany next? Then David Silva, Sergio Aguero. No, sorry, I missed Yaya Toure. So Yaya Toure, David Silva, Sergio. Was it the other way around? Aguero, Silva. There's Kompany in there as well. But every year we use one big star. And this summer we lost 2 actually in Mahrez, which wasn't expected. And Gundogan. Next summer we lose Bernardo. Maybe the summer after we wave goodbye to KDB. We do need to get players in. So people say Nunes might be squad depth this year. Next year he'll be playing. That's it. You know, he'll be fighting with Phil Foden. He'll be fighting with Kovacic for space. We might lose another superstar next summer in Calvin Phillips. People have a go at him, but I mean, well, what else can you say? Let's go on. Nunes seems like let's go. What we got from Czech Polska. Nunes is more athletic than Rodri, Kova, and Phillips. Yeah, look. The one thing, the run that sticks in my mind was when he ran from his own box to the opponent's final third, bouncing players off. He had pace, he had the strength, Yaya Toure-esque, except that he passed the ball, whereas Yaya Toure would have been looking to score. I think Yaya Toure, it was all about Yaya Toure. So I'm excited about Nunes joining, partly because we need the body. That's the main reason. Not worried about what he can offer us. I'm not as excited as I was when Jeremy Doku signed. I was buzzing because I think Jeremy Doku is going to be an exciting player, whereas Matheus Nunes is going to be more of a steady Eddie. He's going to help control the ship. So I think that's good. The other interesting thing that came up today was Cole Palmer. Now, the rumours are that Cole Palmer wants to leave. City won't loan him, which is right. They should not loan him. They want to sell him. Now, going back earlier in the window, Brighton had, I think, a £30 million bid turned down. West Ham was sniffing around him. Chelsea are coming sniffing around. 2 questions, Bernard. What do you think he's worth, or what should we push in Chelsea for? And why would he go to Chelsea?
I don't know why anyone would go to Chelsea, mate, at the moment. Certainly not young lads who've obviously not pedigree, is it the experience of playing first team football? Because he's not going to get a lot of game time. That'll be a bad decision. But obviously, if you're talking 40, 45 million, probably above what, say, Brighton would want to play, even West Ham perhaps. But West Ham, I don't know if they've been any luckier the last few days on the transfer market. They might have a few extra quid to push it to 40, 45 million, but I think any more than 45 is a bit silly. But hey, it's a silly market, isn't it? We know how silly it all is at the moment. But if we got 45 million for Cole Palmer with some sort of or whatever in it,
go ahead, mate.
Yeah, there's some sort of, I've still got plenty of potential, hasn't he? Some sort of buyback option somewhere, but it's getting late in the day now, mate. Unless they've been negotiating, and we don't see that, do we? Unless they've been doing something for a few days, it's getting a bit late now for that to be.
I read something about 10 days ago. Someone put out something about Chelsea were interested in Cole Palmer, because that fellow who's an ex-BBC guy. because when Fabrizio put out that he's exclusive, this guy just mentioned that, here's my thing, my exclusive from 10 days ago, that they were interested. But Chelsea have been knocking on the doors of lots of players.
Yeah,
there's
but I'd say,
anger.
Unless you think, oh God, I've got no other option. That's what Chelsea's looking like to me for Cole Palmer. There's nothing else. I mean, if Brighton had come in and made 40 million offer or something like that. But having said that, why would we do Brighton any favours? Why should we? They're clever, they're canny. Why should we give them anything on the cheap anyway?
No. But from Cole Palmer's point of view, I'd have thought Brighton would be the better deal.
Yeah.
Brighton would be the better deal.
I don't think City are going to look at that and think we're going to do you any favours, lads, because you've not done many for us. So why should we? I mean, I respect how Brighton do the work for a smaller club. That's fantastic. I think it's what they should do. But that doesn't mean City should not play hardball as well when it comes to it.
Oh, no. I think City should get every penny that they can. What I'm saying from Cole Palmer's point of view, I think Brighton would have been a better deal.
Chelsea, I mean, he can, he's got more chance of regular first team football with a team that can play some cracking football as well. It'll help his development. And you say if you've got a buyback clause with him, it'd be fantastic. He could come back to us as well once he's spent 2 or 3 seasons there improving his lot.
My issue is, if you sell Cole Palmer for 40 million, what is the buyback clause going to be? That's the question.
You're on about 78, yeah.
and we ain't going to do it. Look, Chelsea's a Frankenstein club, okay? It's a mess. They've got too many expensive players. Brighton don't have too many expensive players. If it's gone up to 40 million on Cole Palmer, they'd have played him. They're not spending that sort of money and not playing him. Whereas Chelsea are spending that sort of money and putting him on the bench.
Yeah.
So the thing with Chelsea, he's not going to play. So, I mean, but there's 2 things that you look at. Yes, he's not going to play, but he might say he might be on 20 grand a week, 30 grand. Let's say he's on 30 grand a week at City. Okay.
Well, he's not going to play at us, is he? That's the problem. So what he's it's as you say there. I think you're intimating that he's obviously, let's move there, more money.
Here we go.
I probably will play more than I will at City, and it's still a massive club, obviously.
Yeah, I think let's just say he's on 35 grand at City. Okay, Foden was on 20.
Sterling's, isn't he? I mean, Sterling are close, aren't they? Apparently,
maybe. Well, I'm not.
I've heard that they're quite close.
That'll work. But the thing that sticks in my mind, Foden was on 25 grand a week at a similar age. And then he got shot up. So let's say he's on between 20 and 30 grand a week, okay, at City. If Chelsea come and say, City's offer for Cole Palmer at the moment we might move it up to 35, 40 grand a week. Chelsea come along and say, we'll give you a 5-year contract, buddy, 100 grand a week. Cole Palmer looks at that and says, that's 25 million quid over the life of the contract. After tax and pay my agent, that's still 10 million quid over 5 years. If I don't make it, I've made 10 million quid over 5 years because I can just sit on the bench. Now, I don't think kids at 21 years old are thinking of that. Maybe his agent's thinking of that. But at City, he's still going to do all right. He's still going to earn maybe 2 million a year at City, 1 million after tax and paying his agent. You still get about 800 grand a year, 750, 800 grand a year.
I'm sure I'll manage.
It's not, I was going to say he'll manage. But so that could enter your thinking. Because Brighton aren't going to pay him that. Brighton might say, we'll pay you 40 grand a week or 50 grand a week. Chelsea come along and say, we'll give you a 5 or 6 year contracts, 100 grand a week.
I mean, it's got to be, obviously, he's got older people advising him. He's got his agent, he's got other people. So, I mean, it's not as though he's having, so he can think what he wants, but obviously he can be sort of, his decision can be made for him and he can go along with it if he takes that advice. And that's what you would do at his age. You take advice as to what might be the best move, not just from a personal point of view of what you want to do. From a, and his agent might be saying this, 2 years down the line, we can do this for you as well, So, there's lots of little things going on behind that we won't know about.
Look at Cucurella. He's off from Chelsea. Might be, but okay, I'll ask you about this transfer window. We've lost Gundogan, which we knew months and months ago. We lost Mahrez. We extended the contract to Bernardo, but he will leave next summer. We've extended the contract of Kyle Walker. We've extended the contract of Nathan Ake. We've extended the contract of Rico Lewis. We bought Kovacic, who, whichever way you look at it, is a bargain. That's like, that's bargain basement prices, 25 million quid for a guy who, if someone wanted him now, you'd be asking for 60 to 80 million quid because he's 29, but he's got the quality. So I'm really pleased about that bit of business. We got Guardiola, 21 years old. He looks like the future. Jeremy Doku, how old is he? What, 21 as well, or 22? I think 21. Another young player for the future. Nunes, 25 years old, just another player for the future, for now and for the future. We're changing it around because we got rid of Gundogan, 32. Mahrez, we lost 33, I think, or whatever, 32, whatever.
32, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and we replaced them with guys who are, as I said, Doku's 21, Nunes 20, Kovacic 29, still a little younger, and Nunes 25. So we've reduced the age. We've not got a lot of old players now. The oldest, apart from KDB and Walker, Edison's probably 30. All our defence...
He's older, isn't he? I thought he was 31, 32.
Edison?
Yeah, I thought he was a bit older.
No, man. I'm confident. 30 years old. He just turned 30. He was August. So if you think Edison's 30, he's still got 4 or 5 years, good years ahead of him. Johnny Stones is, I think, 29 or 30. 29, I think.
29.
Yeah. Diaz is about 25, 26.
26.
Yeah. Aki's 27, 28.
28.
Akanji's 27.
Well, what I've done, I did a sheet last year, and I've just added a year to it now because it must be a year nowadays. Akanji, as I'm looking at Akanji. Where's Akanji gone? Oh, he's a new one. He'll be on there. Yeah, 28.
Yeah. So, and Stonesy's 29. Was that right? Stonesy 29?
Yeah, I think you were. Yeah, 29. Yeah.
All, we've got players in defence for years to come. For years to come. We've got players in attack. Look at who we've got. Doku, 21, I think. Haaland, 22 or 23. Foden, 23. Forget Grealish for the time being. We've got Nunes, 25, these midfielders. We've got a lot of young... Alvarez. How old is Alvarez? 21? 22? We've got a bag load of young players. I just want 1 or 2 more City homegrown players coming through. But you've got to say, it's been a cracking window, hasn't it? All those people who dissed Cheeky, they can do one.
And if you compare it to other people's as well, I mean, in isolation, you could say it's been very, very good. But, you're looking at the other teams and you're thinking, well, who's really vastly improved themselves? I don't think there's that many that have.
I mean, you look at Chelsea and they've got some good players, but they're not playing great football. You look at Man United splashing the money here and there, but I don't think they look brilliant. I think Liverpool will come good. And I said so. I said Darwin Nunes is a good player. He was getting in all the positions last year. He just was...
What's happened to Mo? Is he still there? Has he not gone yet?
He's still there, but we'll wait and see. To be honest, I want Mo Salah to stay. And I tell you, well, there's reasons why I want him to stay and reasons why I want him to go. If he leaves, Liverpool go to take a step backwards. But if they get 125 million quid for him, they take a step forwards and they go out and buy a couple of players that they need. But if he stays and goes next summer, maybe they have more time to get better, make correct decisions in the transfer market. So it's all good swings and roundabouts. Arsenal have done a reasonable window getting in. Well, they were unlucky with Justin Timber getting injured. Kai Havertz was bobbins. That was a crazy decision to buy him. Declan Rice is going to improve them. They shouldn't let Xhaka go, I think. But from what I see, it's only Declan Rice. Kai Havertz is not going to improve them, and Justin Timbers is injured. Who else has done a good... I think Liverpool have had a reasonable window getting... I think McAllister and Szoboszlai... I wanted Szoboszlai a couple of years ago when he was coming through, and you thought, wow, this guy is exciting. So Liverpool, I think, have had a decent window, and I don't think their business is over. Spurs, Maddison's a good buy, but they lost Kane. But I actually think that's going to help them because everything was going through Kane. Everything was focused on Kane. Now they're playing as more of a team. And I think that's going to make a big difference to them.
Yeah, and the manager's he's not dyed in the wool with Kane, so he can probably cope reasonably well now without Kane because he's new to it anyway. So he'll have his own view of how the team will play anyway.
So I think Kane moving on is actually good for them. Newcastle, I think they've had a good window. Tonali, cracking player. I think they've had a good window. Newcastle as well. I can't think who else has had a good window. Everton.
New ground's nice. The new ground will look nice in the Championship, won't it?
League One, the way they're going, mate. So I can't think of anybody else. Aston Villa had a decent window. Aston Villa.
Yeah. I say apart from that blip against Newcastle,
but they've had
they're back on track again now, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they had a good window. I think the ones I can think off the top of my head have had a good window: Aston Villa, Newcastle, City, Liverpool, maybe Spurs, because I think Maddison's a great addition. If they could have sold Richarlison, they'd have done really well. Let's go through some comments. Amber says, is that because of Bernard? Chris Welch, taking the money for Salah. Look what happened to Liverpool. That's what I'm saying. I think Salah, at 31, he's still a cracking player. He should have been in the PFA team of the season. Comfortably ahead of Saka last year. I mean, come on, Saka shouldn't have got. How can Saka? I'm just going to throw this as a by the by. How can Saka win the young players award ahead of Haaland, but not the senior players award ahead of Haaland? It's rubbish that. But I think Liverpool, the money that they could get from Salah at his age, he's still a cracking player. I still think he's got 2 or 3 good years at Liverpool, but that's a transformational amount of money to sell. Linny says, hi, lads and all. I personally don't think there's as much top talent out there. The one we wanted, Bellingham. Bellingham would have been a cracking. Bellingham was the one, But if we're honest about it, he wanted to go to Madrid. That's just the truth. If we're honest, he wants to go to Madrid. If we'd offered 70 million, 100 million, he'd have still gone to Madrid. Players have that power to go to the club they want.
It's like Van Dijk, he wanted to go to Liverpool. Simple as that.
He didn't want him to City. He had his heart set on Liverpool. Same as Caicedo. Liverpool
That's always going to come into the equation, isn't it? I mean, if Haaland didn't have City links, would we have seen him at City?
Yeah. Oh, I think Chris is right. Liverpool got firepower with that Salah. You got Diaz, you got Jota, you got Darwin Nunes, you've got
It's his breakout season, isn't it? This one now, Nunes.
Look, when Aguero was retiring or when he was injured, I talked about Darwin Nunes with who was it now? The Italian journalist. I forgot his name now. From a few years ago, Italian journalist who lives in Sweden. And he's a Liverpool fan. But we talked about Darwin Nunes and said, he needed. This is when he went to Benfica. We said he needed another year or 2 elsewhere before he's ready for City. He went off to Benfica, then he went to Liverpool. But that's been 2 years have passed, and now he's showing what he actually can do. But look, guys, we're mainly here to talk about the three players that we're interested in today. Not Darwin Nunes, but Mateus Nunes, Tommy Doyle, and Cole Palmer. Before I'm going to summarize what's happened. If you're new to the channel, there's 66 people watching live now. So I've got to say, probably loads of you are new to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. We are quite comfortably, and I'm not saying this in a big-headed way, but we are quite comfortably the fastest growing Manchester City channel out there. We have in the last month more than doubled our subscribers, more than doubled. In fact, it's gone up by probably 125% in the last month alone. It's a phenomenal growth, but obviously you like seeing Bernard and mine lovely bald bonces. But if you are new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. 12 people left since I asked that, but please subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon so you're notified as soon as new
videos. Zero now.
And give us a thumbs up, give us a like, because it's always nice to be liked, guys. It's always nice to be like. We're on. I'll just have a quick look. I can have a quick look at the likes. If this channel content will come up, and we'll tell you about that. So we've got 55 live viewers now, and we've got 31 likes. Come on, guys, get those likes rattled in. We want to get up to 50 or even 100 today. So let's summarize what's happened. I started the day thinking the longer this drags on, the less likely I think it's going to happen that Matheus Nunes will come to City. But I also, part of me was thinking to myself that Wolves need the money. They need the players. They need to do something. They need a striker. They're not scoring goals. They could do with somebody else to put the ball in the back of the net. But as soon as I heard that Girona was selling Santiago Bueno to Wolves for 10 million euros, I thought, hang on, where are Wolves getting this money from? I tweeted that. Where are Wolves getting this money from? They were supposed to be, I can't say the word I was going to use, but broadcast. Okay, they were skint. And then also you need to know that Girona are a CFG club. That's a City football group. They're the body that own Manchester City and about 12 clubs around the world. Girona is one of them. And if Wolves were playing hardball with City over Matheus Nunes, why would we let this fella go from Girona to Wolves? Why would we do that? We play hardball with them. So I think as soon as I saw that, I thought this deal is going to happen. Then when the news came out that Cole Palmer was seriously linked with Chelsea for a permanent move to Chelsea, again, that rings alarm bells. And you think, we are struggling for players. If Matheus Nunes wasn't coming, why would we let Cole Palmer go? We must have some other irons in the fire. This late in the transfer window, I'm not sure that it would happen, it would work. So all this kind of pushed me in the direction to think it's going to happen. The money that's been talked about is only 47.3 million quid. It's not changed since our last offer. But Tommy Doyle is going to Wolves reportedly 5 million quid. I've got that in my back pocket. 5 million quid. That's nothing. That's nothing. 5 million quid. So I think Tommy Doyle, even in this market, was worth at least 10 million quid. Now, yes, we don't. I'll be honest, we don't rate, not us, but City don't rate him as highly as we rate Cole Palmer or James McAtee or Oscar Bob, I think. But I think 10 million quid you could easily get out of this transfer window. If we can get 19 million for James Trafford, if we can get 10.5 million for, was it Shea Charles?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, if I say Shea Charles, most people say, who? Ray Charles. Oh, Shea Charles.
Borges, he went for a bit. What did Borges go
for? About 15, 16 million euros to Ajax. So if we can get this sort of money for these kind of players, Tommy Doyle played in the Championship for Sheffield United, played 33 times for them in the league as they won promotion. He's worth more than 5 million quid. I'll tell you that now. He's worth, we should have been looking at 15. So I think some jiggery pokery is going on with the numbers, but that's what's happened. As soon as all this has happened, it looks bang on that Nunes was going to come to City and Tommy Doyle's going there. I think this Nunes purchase automatically means Cole Palmer's gone. Next question, Bernard. We've discussed these, and you can go back and watch this video, guys, if you want to look at those players again. What happens to James McAtee? What do you think happens to James McAtee?
I don't know. I just can't see him getting any time at City, get any time on the pitch again, even in the cups, because we know Pep doesn't just stick all the kids out. He'll get odd minutes, he'll get odd time, but again, I said yesterday, if this Nunes thing wasn't working, I want to see more of McAtee, but obviously that's now putting further down the pecking order, hasn't it, as far as playing for us is concerned. So I'm surprised it's all quiet on him at the moment, because he is a body, but he's not a body that's going to be utilised unless there's an absolute drastic, something drastic happens. So for his benefit, he needs to be doing something. At the moment, it doesn't look he's going to be able to do much. But hey, how many 36 hours left, is it, or what? Yeah,
2 days.
28 hours, 30 hours left. You never know.
48 hours plus change.
It's
midnight.
There's nothing, is there? There's no rumours. There's nothing knocking about.
But here's the thing: the noise about James McAtee. Okay, Sheffield United, they want McAtee. I read that an hour ago. Okay, this is from a Sheffield United channel. That Sheffield United are ahead of Leeds to get McAtee on loan. Okay, but it's hit a snag. And the snag, because that's the Sheffield Examiner, I think. The snag is Cole Palmer leaving. Now, it's been rumoured again that Chelsea, if Cole Palmer goes to Chelsea, McAtee won't leave City. City do not want to let both these kids go. They'll let one go, but they won't let both go. Now, the issue I have for McAtee, the worry I have for him, he won't get much game time. I'll accept that. He's 20 years old. He'll be 21 in 2 months' time. He'll be 21 in October. This is his only chance at City, this 1 year, I think. After that, he's got to be playing.
He's in the Cole Palmer position of last year, really, isn't he?
Yeah, age-wise and everything else. The thing is, I've said it before, Foden played 4 games in his first season, or 4 or 5 league games, but he was 17 or 18 years old. Then he played 13 games the next season, but he was still 18 or 19 years old. He was still, I think he was 19 then, 2 years younger than Cole Palmer. McAtee's already starting even older. So Foden had that time to develop slowly. The problem with Cole Palmer and James McAtee is they're much, much older. They need to be playing first team football or a lot more football right now. Otherwise, their development is going to be stagnated. Cole Palmer, in my opinion, and from what I've seen, some in some aspects has gone backwards. Some aspects, maybe he's moved forwards. He's not that further on for me than he was 2 years ago. That's the worry I have for James McAtee staying at City. Having said that, if he's a City fan, I would give it that 1 year. I would give it that 1 year and say to myself, I've got to give it that. I've got to have that chance because you never know what's going to happen. KDB gets injured. Matheus Nunes gets a transfer to Man City. Something else could happen. You know what? I mean, you don't wish injuries on players, but what if 2 more players get injured in your attacking, numbers? Let's say when you're attacking players, sorry, two more players get injured. McAtee gets a look in. You don't know what's going to happen. Look at Zinchenko. In fact, let's look at Zinchenko. When we bought Ben Mendy, he was our number 1. Who'd have thought Ben Mendy would have got injured twice? Okay. When he got injured, who took his place? Do you remember? Who was it?
Mendy.
Yeah. Fabian Delph. Fabian Delph took Mendy's place. Fabian Delph was a crock. He got injured again. Who took his place? Zinchenko. Zinchenko was third choice. He had offers to leave quite. Real Betis were looking at him and somebody else, probably Wolves. He had offers to leave and he said, no, I'm going to stay. He had a kind of a bond with City because City he felt saved him when he had no club, nowhere to go. So he got lucky. Third choice, left back. And he was a midfielder, so he wasn't even probably third choice left back. He was put in there. And he was a centurion. He was a formidable. And look at all the stuff he's won with City. Okay. And then he's got this dream move to Arsenal. Okay. So that's why I think McAtee, one of the reasons I think he should stay. Another is to have a season under Pep. He's had a season under Higginbottom. Yeah. At Sheffield. Have a season under Pep and see what you can achieve. Let's go through some quick comments and then I'll bring Bernard back in. Hi, Abdurrahman. Hope you're well. Arsenal need a striker, says Chris. What's this? Linny says, it feels like we've bought last minute, almost panic back. No, Pep's already said, was it last year or year before, that Nunes is a good player 2 years ago. Look, we want, I don't dispute that we'd have taken Bellingham or Declan Rice or Paqueta ahead of Nunes. I don't doubt that. But we have a list of 3 or 4 options. They're all going to be good options. They're not going to be crap. We don't Calvin Phillips. We don't tend to buy any rubbish. Calvin Phillips still got time. Don't diss him. Okay. So we don't tend to buy rubbish. We buy good players. And our list of options are going to be good options. You got your number one. Number one, I think, was Bellingham. Number two was Declan Rice. Number three was Paqueta. Then he moved on to Nunes. But doesn't mean they're rubbish. And look what's happened in the past. We wanted Koulibaly. He was our number one. We didn't get him. We were interested in Jules Koundé. We didn't get him. Who did we end up with? Ruben Dias. Need I say more? So, we wanted Harry Kane. We didn't get him. Who did we end up with? Erling Haaland. Come on, guys. You know it makes sense. Yeah, you know it makes sense.
I mean, the listing them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it isn't really justifiable. It's not really how it's done, is it? It's just preference, but it doesn't mean one's tons better than 2 or tons better than 3. It's just the options.
Yeah, we have a preference, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but they're all good players. I think that's the crucial thing. It's not as if when we get to number 5, we're looking at, I'm not going to insult anybody. We're looking at Jesse Lingard as number 5. We just pick any old body.
As soon as you know you're not going to get someone like Bellingham, you very quickly know that you can concentrate on something else. You don't keep hoping on something that's not going to happen. That's
why the bid came in for Declan Rice. But we had a limit, and I think we were told that he wants to go to Arsenal. Look, I don't want to play that lacks ambition. If Declan Rice wants to go to Arsenal, let him go. Ambition, if you want to test yourself against the best at the top level, you want to fight for your place and push yourself and challenge yourself to get better. At City, Declan Rice has to fight. Arsenal walks in. That's the difference. Yes, he makes Arsenal better. Arsenal's first team. He makes City's squad better. That's the difference. But if he's good enough and backs himself, which he didn't, he comes to City. But whatever. That's happened, okay? It's happened. So as soon as the Declan Rice goes out, you go to Paqueta. The Paqueta deal was done. At 80 million. It was done. And then, obviously, the betting scandal came out. Paqueta deal fell down the toilet. Then the fourth and fifth on the list, Nunes and Eze. That happened. So that's how I think it works. Thank you, Umar Abdurrahman. Honestly, we'll be hitting 6,000 by the end of September. Subscribers, it's ridiculous. What's going on? A hit likes all. The Girona deal is also changed because the player was apparently valued at twice the amount has been so far. I'm getting calls. I mean, Mrs. and my son, because I've been out all day. They want a piece of me, my lad. I'm not answering. But we're going to start winding down after an hour's enough. So yeah, look, I don't know what it was a Uruguayan guy. I don't know, a centre back. I don't know what his actual valuation was, but I think it's all done. All connected. And look, that's the value of CFG. That's the value of the City Football Group, that we can help deals to work in our favour for Manchester City, who are obviously the main club in the CFG. Simon says, I'll still subscribe, so you'll never go below 1. Don't worry about 67, Simon. We're not too far off that ourselves, even though I've got some boyish good looks. No, I haven't. I haven't got, not boyish and not good looks. As someone said to me today, no, I'll tell you off air, Bernard, but someone said to me today, 10 million, what a bargain. We def pull a string there, says Linny. We've got to keep Palmer. Don't see it happening, Linny. Don't see it happening. Doyle, 50% sell on. Yeah, that's a lot more than the normal sell on. Yeah, they did get Doyle cheap, but I think that's part of the bargain. Not sure about this signing, but I trust Pep. You've got to trust him. Got to trust that. Look, Fabian Delph won 2 league titles as playing at City's left back. Zinchenko won it. They weren't the best left backs in the world, but the rest of the team made them look all right. We saw when Delph went away, he was bobbins at Everton. Okay, so I think one average player playing with a good City side will make them look better, and they can fit in. It's the system. It's the system that makes it work. Not the individual players are got to be good enough, don't get me wrong, but it's how they fit into that system. And that's why Delph and Zinchenko could work for City. And that's why Cancelo, who can't defend for Toffee, works for City. Come off it, Alec. Tenerife, come on. Actually, it's not been too bad, the weather today. It was chucking it down in Manchester this morning when I went off to Birmingham. Nice in Birmingham. And thankfully, it's all right in Manchester now. We must keep Palmer, Bob and McAtee. It's not going to happen, Simon, because you keep 3 kids, they're not going to play. They're not going to play. Even keeping 2 is difficult. Last year, we only kept Cole Palmer. We let McAtee and Doyle go out on loan. So I think we're going to keep 1. I actually thought it would be Oscar Bob that we'd keep. I just had this feeling that it was Oscar Bob because I just think Oscar Bob, even though he's not really a City fan, he's come from Norway. He's 20 years old, just because he was 20 last month. I just thought Oscar Bob kind of felt like the profile of a player that we might keep at City. And McAtee might either go out on loan or be sold because I just think he needs to keep playing. Linny says, I'd let Doyle go, let McAtee go on loan, keep Palmer though. Don't worry about Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea are going to be a challenge this season. If they're a challenge, then Pochettino's a better manager than I'm giving him credit for, and I'm not giving him any credit. Why wouldn't City sell Palmer for 35 million? Because we can get more. I think we can get more. I think the valuation was about 35 to 40. West Ham wouldn't pay that. Brighton wouldn't pay that. And City are going to stick to their guns. They either sell him for the right price or maybe he stays for another season. But I don't think that's in his best interest now. Simon says, I don't mind loans, but I'm fed up with losing quality to rivals. Lavia instead of Phillips. But hindsight's easy. Lavia needed to play. If Lavia had stayed at City, he'd have been in the same position of Phillips. He wouldn't have played. Nobody would have known how good he was. That's the truth. Now, we might have got a few more games than Phillips because we might have trusted him more, but nobody would have known. And I think the fact that we put a 2-year buyback clause is we didn't expect him to be so good so quickly. Or maybe Southampton said, we're not going to buy him with a 2-year if you have a buyback clause after 1 year because Willie develops him for a year and then you buy him back. It's not worth it for us. But Chelsea coming with, but they got relegated, so I think they've taken that decision.
I think that was the deciding factor. The fact they got relegated. I think we talked about that, didn't we? That totally flummoxed. That totally put punctured that tire, if you like. It sort of ruined that idea. Yeah.
Ivan says, "Come on, the quadruple." Or behave, mate. Calm down. Next round of the Carabao Cup is week commencing the 3rd. It's about it's the 30th, isn't it? Because that's the next. Are you going to be around for that?
Obviously not. Yeah, it should be. When is it that week?
I'm just trying to see.
No, I mean, I go on next Wednesday. I forgot all about the Carabao Cup. I didn't know when it was.
No, it has to be key dates. Let's have a look. Let's have a quick look then. Carabao Cup, week commencing 28th of August. That's this week. Next one, week commencing 25th of September.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, I'm back.
I'm not going to be here.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be in Northern Ireland and Ireland that week, which what I've been pushing for to be away that week. That's what it is. Let's just hope for an away tie. Otherwise, I'll be buying a ticket because I'm on the cup scheme.
Tonight, isn't it? The draw.
Yeah. So otherwise, I'll be buying a ticket on the cups because I'm on the cup scheme and I won't be going. So that's a bummer because if they put it's a private thing with Bernard. If they put the cup scheme points on already for the FA Cup and the League Cup, I'd have had 12,500 points. I'd have got that ticket. It's between Bernard and me now. Simon says, I like Doyle as well, but the loan and 50% sell-on means we could buy him back for half his market value. I don't know if it's going to be a loan or it's just... Fabrizio Romano said it's a £5 million sale with a 50% sell-on clause. The thing is, Tony Doyle has been on loan to Hamburg. He was on loan again, I can't remember where, and he's been on loan for a season to Sheffield United, and we don't want him. So it means he's got no future at City. He's got so little future at City that he's behind Calvin Phillips in the pecking order. So you know he's got no future at City. Bree says, does the Girona player going cheap open us more effort? No. I mean, people might question it, but they'll say, is it a reasonable price? Or if Girona were quoting 20 million euros to other clubs and then they're doing it Wolves for 10 million, yes, there's an issue there. But I think we'll get away with it. Rodri needs to play fewer games this season. Yeah, he said it himself. I think that will happen. Next few fixtures looking good. Come on, City. Yeah, absolutely. Tomorrow's the Champions League. Look, we got the Coca-Cola Cup. The Carabao Cup draw tonight. Champions League draw tomorrow. England squad announced tomorrow. Pep's press conference on Friday. Game on Saturday. Loads of stuff, and then it goes quiet. Well, I think we'll do I think I'll try and get Bernard for a quick day after review of the game for Sunday. Might be recorded on Saturday night because I'm off on Scotland on Sunday. But no, that'd be nice. And then we're away for the international break. That's actually great, Linny. It's great that Spurs have been knocked out when we're playing them. I'm going to wind it down. Thanks a lot, Bernard. For joining me, and thanks to you guys for joining me as well. Any final thoughts, Bernard, on this deal? You're not looking as that excited, but
I'll put it this way: it's been pretty boring transfer windows the last few seasons, haven't they? We've sort of done everything dead early, no big things, and we've had a bit of excitement this time. And it's makes it more interesting rather than have someone put something funny shaped in someone's ear outside someone's ground. It's about as the entertainment we've got is. It's been a bit more interesting. There's still a couple of little things to happen, isn't there? I think so. Right up till tomorrow night.
I'll just say this: Craig is a Wolves fan. I think there's can't use the word shenanigans, but I think there's some things are going to go on in the background to make this a deal that's better for each club. Nunes costing you
I think they've compromised between the two clubs on certain things.
See, look, the way I'm looking at it, Craig, on your books, you've had him for one season, is that right? If you've had him for one season, his value in your books is 30 million quid. Okay, I don't think the add-ons have been hit. 30 million quid. Let's say there's a 10% sell-on clause on profit, and we're paying 47. So there's 17 million. Let's say you lose 2 million. You made a 15 million pound profit in terms of your accounts. That's what's going to hit your books for FFP. But I think some shenanigans as I said, it's the wrong word. Something's going to go on in the background because you're getting this fellow from Girona possibly on the cheap. You're certainly getting Tommy Doyle on the cheap. There's no way he's worth 5 million quid. He's worth 10 or 15. I think we could have gone to other clubs and possibly got that at least 10 million quid for Tommy Doyle is what was expecting. So I think you've done all right overall on this. When it all settles down, the numbers come out. Oh, thanks, Lenny. Guys, look, if you are new to the channel, please subscribe, hit that bell icon so you're notified as soon as new videos come out, and give us a thumbs up. Doyle was a sweetener. Yeah, that's what I thought, Simon. I thought he's worth 10 or 15 million quid. Any championship club could look at Tommy Doyle and say, look, he helped Sheffield United get promotion last season, playing 33 times for them in the league. He's worth more than 5 or 10 million quid in my book. 10 or 15 is kind of where I thought it would be. And so I think it's all part of the deal. I think when it all lands, everybody's going to do well out of this. And I've said it, I'm on record as saying I think Gary O'Neill will keep Wolves up. I think he's got enough about him to keep Wolves up, and I hope they do stay up. And who did you say would go down, Bernard? Luton, Sheffield United, and
Bournemouth.
And I've gone Luton, Sheffield United, and Everton. All right, Everton are bottom, Bournemouth are fourth bottom. So it's
not too bad at the moment. Yeah, doing all right.
And Luton and Sheffield United, they're there as well.
Not good, is it? I don't think.
Burnley are there as well. Burnley are the other one who's not good.
Yeah, Burnley needs to start getting some wins, I think.
Yeah. Well, they've only played 2 games. I'm not worried about Burnley. BBC have said Man City have agreed that deal. Verbal agreement. Bottom of the table looks like Everton, 0 points. 0 points. Luton, 0 points. Burnley, 0 points. Sheffield United, 0 points. Bournemouth, 1 point. And then Wolves with 3 points. But it's early days. Thanks, as I said, thanks a lot, guys. Double down on that, Linny. You've got good takes on City. Oh, cheers. Look, we've always said, Simon, we're chasing decent takes. We're not going to come out and talk about players coming to City that have got no links. I used to have gripes with the people for that, just to get people to watch. Okay, occasionally I will have a little bit of hyperbole out there, bit on the thumbnail, but that's, you want people to watch. But we're just going to be honest. We're going to give you our honest opinion from what we feel from watching games. We've come out and had a pop at Haaland this season. Okay. Not a big pot, but say, look, you've had so many chances, mate. You should be scoring goals. You need to be doing better. Because we're not here to blow smoke up our players' backsides. We're not going to come out with the rose tinted specs. We're just going to give honest opinion. And I think, it's time people had honest opinion rather than stupid stuff like, was it Rory Jennings saying that Haaland's not going to make it, or who's that United one that said the same?
Or Foden needs to move because he's getting no game time.
Yeah. that Olivia woman, that was rubbish. Pep didn't play him last year. He was injured, and then he had appendicitis, which cost him a month. Come on, get with it. And at the start of the season, Foden was hot. He scored a hat-trick against Man United. He was hot at the start of the season.
And that's how he started this season. Hot.
Yeah. Who's that? Yeah, he is. Who's that? I forgot his name now. Might as well be Celtic. That fella, United fan from the Stretford paddock or whatever they are. His take, Pep. He all that time he was saying when they thought he was getting Pep, he was blowing smoke up his backside.
Houghton.
Yeah, Steve Houghton. Houghton. That's it. And then he turns around when Pep comes to City. He brings no guarantee of success. These guys, they just turn around like that. But look, it's what gets them hits. It's what makes them money, and it stops us making money because we're going to be more honest about it. And people want a bit of drama. You don't get a lot of drama here. The nearest you get to drama is when one of us had a shave. Or
when the sun comes out, and bounces off the head.
But guys, look after yourselves. I've got to go and do some work. Apparently, I've got to tidy the house tonight and clean the car. So thank you so much for joining us, guys. I think we will be around tomorrow. I'll try and we'll chat with Bernard and try and do something about the Champions League draw, because we are defending champions. We're going to defend our title, so we want to know who we're going to go against. Sorry? What's that?
Sounds good. Defending champions.
Defending champions. Treble. We're the defending treble winners. Sounds good. Guys, look after yourselves. Thanks so much for joining us. I've been saying goodbye for 10 minutes, but it is goodbye. Tatty bye now. And we'll see you around Blues.